Good morning. Today's topic, as already announced, is rejuvenation through spirituality. We know what rejuvenation is. Rejuvenation is, in fact, reviving, getting refreshed, getting to our original condition. It can be said as replenishing our lost energy, or it can be said filling ourselves with positive energy. That is rejuvenating. Why do we need to rejuvenate? Because we are not in a situation, not in a condition that we want ourselves to be. We want to be in some different state. And what energy from what thing we lose? Rejuvenation can be of three types, according to our three levels of personality. The first type is physical. Our personality includes the physical, the gross, that of which we are most familiar and we are aware. The physical personality. We lose our physical state. We lose it through our age, of course, that cannot be replenished or rejuvenated. But we lose our physical state as it should be. We are not in that condition by various reasons. One of them is work and overwork. In fact, work would not matter. Overworking matters. We get tired by working more than what is needed. That's why those who want to do spiritual practice are said, be moderate in your work. Too much of work may take up your physical energy, without which even you will not be able to pray and meditate properly. So work in moderation. So we need to replenish the energy of our physical body that is lost because of our overwork. And when we are tired, we understand, yes, we need to rejuvenate our body. And what we do to refresh our body, our physical stature, the one common thing when we are tired is so natural, we want to sleep. God is so kind. He has made arrangement. You work hard, now go to sleep. And when you work hard, you really have a good sleep. Good sleep is a method of physical rejuvenation. Not only sleep, even exercise. It helps to refresh our body. Going to gym, a treadmill or swimming, all this make our body fresh. Or having in the summertime we are too tired, simple drink of cold water refreshes the body. So those are the physical means of replenishing our lost energy. Many people like to walk. Oh, it's a fantastic way of rejuvenating our lost physical energy. And of course, as I said, we use energy of our body literally we consume the energy, and that has to be replenished by food. Food is the source of energy more than the source of taste and enjoying the taste. It is the source of energy. So, nutritional food in balance. It is an important part of rejuvenating our physical stature. Now comes the second level of our personality, which we are concerned with rejuvenation through spirituality. But these things are needed so that we become fit to rejuvenate our whole personality through spirituality. Spirituality is such a thing which will inspire us to rejuvenate our personality at all levels. So, spirituality includes all those. In moderate, in sleep, walk, recreation. Sri Krishna says in the Gita that be moderate in all these, then you will become spiritual. He doesn't only say meditate and pray. Sri Krishna says you walk, you eat, you recreate in moderation, you sleep in moderation. Then you will be able to practice yoga. So, replenishing our lost physical energy is a part of rejuvenation through spirituality. Now, mental rejuvenation. What we do, why do we lose mental energy? Mental energy we lose mostly by worries and anxieties. Sometimes by talking too much. And of course, it is loss of energy through mental condition is through our lack of spiritual orientation. So to replenish the mental energy, to bring our mind back to its original state, to make it fresh, to refresh our mind, what we need to do? The best way, they say, is again sleep. But this sleep is different from the simple sleep that we have given our body rest. This should be deep sleep, where there is no even dreams. Dreamless sleep is one of the best methods to have mental rest. But that itself is not very easy, and it's not in our hand. To have the deep sleep is not in our hand. I am tired, I am worried, I want to have deep sleep. It doesn't come. To have deep sleep, we have to make our mind prepared for that by living a spiritual life. The spiritual life is so intimately connected with our physical and mental lives. The next thing that we need to give rest to our mind or replenish the mental energy is being quiet. As I said, talking too much and talking, there is the things what we talk and how it dissipates our energy. If we talk something ill about others, something defects about others, we much harbor in that, it very fast and quickly takes away our mental energy. So being quiet itself, don't talk. If you can't talk good things, don't talk something bad about others. If you go on searching bad in the world, you will find everywhere bad. People even found bad in Sita, people found bad in Sri Ramachandra, who are the embodiment of ideal human being. Maryada Purushottam Rama, his life is described in such a way, he is an ideal person in Valmiki Ramayana. And people are there who found defects in Rama himself. And not that in that time some washerman found defect, but here, this day also people find, why Rama did this? Why Rama did not do that? Why was Rama so cruel-hearted? As if they know all the heart of Rama. They put themselves in the position without understanding the Rama's mind. They see from their own mind and they try to judge the actions of Maryada Purushottam Rama, divine incarnation who comes to teach us. And when you start finding defect in other persons, then you lose your mental energy. So, keeping quiet, making our mind quiet is one of the ways to keep our mental energy replenished. We get very mental satisfaction and peace by visiting, sometimes going to scenic places. Suppose you go to an ocean, vast ocean, you see, and waves and animals there, you see the whales, and you see dolphins, and you see birds. Those all, suppose there is the heron is there, blue heron, or there is other birds who are diving to catch fish, and you see the nature in its own game, and it gives so much of refreshment to your, not your body. Bodily refreshment will be teas and snacks and all those things who may disturb your stomach later on. But mental refreshment is got by visiting the scenic places. Go to our Canada's own, your Rockies, go to Niagara Falls. If you are not going to see the crowd and going to have all sorts of those big high-rise building and whatever goes inside that, if you go there, inside a high-rise building, this signboard, big signboard, the 5 letters, those games and all that, if you go there, you will lose all your mental energy. Don't go there. See the vast amount of water flowing through the ages, countless years it is running in that way, never ending. What a great show of Creator. If you could make your visions, your thoughts spiritual, it's very soothing to the mind. You will not be tired going to Niagara Falls. But if you go and see only the crowds and to have the coffee and Tim Hortons there, it will really be not that useful. Of course, something will be there. Going to parks and even camping occasionally on good seasons is really a good refreshment for mental energy, replenishment for mental energy. Next thing that helps us a lot to replenish our lost mental energy or rejuvenate our mental stature is having some creative hobbies. That ordinary work we do and we often get tired with our duties. So sometimes because it becomes, we lose real concentration and real thought in the work that it is a service to God and service to man is equal to service to God. And we think we are doing for earning some money and our mind is somewhere else. Oh, I couldn't go today to my house in time. I wanted to go to this place with my family. Oh, I have to work here from 9 to 5. It's so tiring. If we do not think in it that way and we work for it as a service to humanity instead of as a means to earn money, that which comes in its effect, if we could do that, take spirit of service in our daily work, we will not be tired. We get tired because our mind doesn't want to work, because we don't see any benefit, spiritual benefit in work. It's our blindness. We cannot see what we are doing. And most of the cases it happens. Then what we need to do after you are done work, you need to have some hobbies. Some people have hobbies to cook nice food for family. That itself is so nice. And it is not the work, but it is the mind and mental condition that makes you happy. Oh, I am cooking this food. My younger son likes this very much. He has gone to study and today he is coming from another city and he will be very happy to eat this. Thus the joy of making my son happy makes my mind very refreshed. Though I have worked all day on Friday in my office, but I come and where is the tiredness go that I have from Monday to Thursday? Friday I feel so fresh to cook to my dear son. So that is one kind of hobby. Other creative hobbies even, draw something, study painting, learn some language. Those all are the hobbies which make your mind fresh. This also comes under mental rejuvenation. Now let us come to the topic of spiritual rejuvenation, which is so important to rejuvenate our personality at all 3 levels. Without spiritual outlook, even physical rejuvenation will not be there, mental rejuvenation will be very less than that can be done through spiritual rejuvenation. Now, spiritual rejuvenation can be done. How to do? First is having the right attitude, as I said, towards our work. That we work to serve God, who is present in every human being. When I make a person smile, when I make one student understand something which was difficult for him to understand, and I feel that he understood and see the glow in his face of understanding something, that should be my service to God, and that itself is the reward. When I treat a person, a client which comes to the bank in my counter, if I am a cashier or teller, and I advise him something and I find satisfaction in his face, that becomes the service to God. This all come under spiritual rejuvenation, because at the time I'm not serving a simple human being, I'm serving God in the human being. And each smile, each satisfaction given to a person, the happiness is somewhere else. It is God that becomes happy. When Draupadi was praying to save her modesty to God, God came and said, Draupadi, do you remember, have you done something, some gift of your cloth to somewhere? Draupadi said, you remember? Yes, Lord, I remember. Once one monk was bathing in a river, and somehow by the current of water his loin cloth was carried away. Then when I saw this, I tore from my cloth which I was wearing half and gave it to the monk. The Lord said, you don't have to fear. You will be saved. You have done something a little, you will gain 1,000 times more of that cloth which you had given. So where it is recorded, you see, it is recorded somewhere else. You do something, it gets recorded somewhere else, and it is given in return in bounty. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says, you come one step towards God, God comes 10 steps towards you. So when we can make one person happy, one person satisfied, God sees this and He amply rewards us in our own joy. That's how our sentimental satisfaction we get. That it becomes spiritual rejuvenation. The best way to rejuvenate spiritually, because our all spiritual practices are done through our mind, it is quietening of the mind. We talked about being quiet in speech, now keeping our mind quiet. Most difficult thing, but that is the basis of spiritual rejuvenation. The mind, if you try to see the mind, how it works, it's very restless. Swami Vivekananda, that example, that mind is like a monkey, which is drunk with wine, stung by a scorpion, and then caught hold by a ghost. So mind is self-restless by nature, so it has all the three other things, that it has pride, jealousy, and desires, worldly desires, filled with it. So mind is very restless, and unless this restlessness goes and mind becomes quiet, it is very difficult to replenish ourselves spiritually. And that needs practice. Sitting for some time to try to focus our mind on some particular object, we understand how it is difficult to concentrate. But that is a must. So spiritual rejuvenation comes, first condition is trying to quieten our mind. One day doesn't happen, it's a long practice. Shanai Shanai Ruparame. Sri Krishna said in the Gita that try to be spiritual slowly, slowly. It won't be happening one day, but definitely by trying day after day, you will achieve success in your spiritual practice. Your mind will be quiet and you will feel tremendous energy coming into you. To make the mind quiet and to have the control over the mind, there are many methods. The best method and easiest method is company of the holy persons. So those who are really happy and wise persons, have company with them. Talk to them, visit them, see them, be in their presence. And that has very profound and positive impact on our own mind. When we return from visit of such holy persons who are really holy, that effect and impact we take away home. It is greater than going to Niagara Falls or visiting Lake Louise. That we go there, we gain little mental satisfaction, mental replenishment. But when we come, it is not that effective. Well, we are there, we are very happy. But when we come, we forget. But a holy company has that power in our spirit that it is carried over when we come back home. And if we could, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, chew the cud, as it cow do, they eat up the things, and later on, at their leisure, they bring it out and chew. So Sri Ramakrishna used to say, whatever you go to the holy places, he didn't say about the company, pilgrimage, go there and there is certainly definite feeling, greater feeling than going just to the scenic places. Pilgrimages have some vibration stored there in that place, and when you go there with a positive mind, right attitude, you absorb those vibrations. And if you go, I have come to the place of God. Visit any holy place, Bethlehem, Varanasi, Mecca, anywhere, but you have to go through that right attitude. And then, when you go there, the type of mind you had there, when you come home, try to remember that, recapitulate that. Similarly, when we visit a holy person, then try to remember what he talked, what type of feeling you had. Remain in that feeling when you come back home also. That helps to have more rejuvenation spiritually. Sometimes holy company are difficult. Who is holy person to understand is also difficult. Person seems to be holy. Only person wearing gerua doesn't become holy. Holy person is someone whose heart has become pure. So any person wearing any cloth, most modern and fashionable dress, he may be a very holy person. It depends on his or her spiritual condition, his or her openness, his or her devotion to mind, his or her not being attached to the worldly pleasures, not to what he wears and how he paints his body. Having big tilak or having a big shikha may not necessarily make one a holy person. Never the ochre cloths also may not make one holy person. So that, but how to find and where to go is not possible. So another very nice thing to keep the holy company is reading holy books. Every one of us can have in ourselves, bookshelves, holy books. Just we need to read. Sometimes we don't feel like reading. Reading novel is so interesting. We start reading and we don't want to close it unless we finish. Oh, I read the novel up to 3 a.m. in the morning on Friday. It was so interesting I couldn't put back. That happens. But when you read complete works of Swami Vivekananda, take one, after 3, after reading a novel, that is to sleep. Read a few first passage and second passage doesn't go. Just to sleep. That often becomes holy book reading. But if you find interest in reading holy book, there have been persons, very young person, who started reading Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Ranganathanandaji, when he was in grade 8, a boy of 13, 14, 15 years of age, and he read the Gospel and he couldn't put it down before finishing it. So much joy he found because he was made that way. He just could touch his heart. All this samskara thing also affect. But you know, we all have very good samskara. Otherwise we won't be here today to listen on spiritual rejuvenation or rejuvenation through spirituality. Only our good samskara draw us from this weather, from this condition, from this holiday, to come and sit here for 1 hour, listening to home sound and meditate, listening to the reading, listening to the song, and hearing some Swami doing blah blah blah. But that is definitely, we have good samskara. So we are also like that. Let's open and start reading the book. And the more we start reading and thinking a little deeper, we find greater and greater joy. People say, once I read that book, but Swami, when I'm reading second time, it seems so different, as if I never understood this passage. So reading and rereading holy books is a means for rejuvenating spiritually. Then there is prayer. Prayer is so important to make ourselves enriched with that energy which will change our life and which will make you tireless. We'll go to see how people who pray and meditate and keep holy company are so energetic. I'll come to some examples. Now, what is prayer? We often do not know. What you say always, prayer, do prayer. So prayer you can say of 4 types. One is talking with God. You feel there is God. That if you imagine, God is there because it has been said in the scriptures. Swami also said, parents also said that God is everywhere. So I want to be in presence of God. I want to think of God. Then you start talking with Him. God, what happened is, why this world condition, whatever you feel like mentally. People may say, you are like mad. This is not madness. This is positive madness for God, and trying to have His presence, trying to feel God as a real entity. And talk to Him for some time. In silence. Keeping His presence. Just talking, whatever you feel like. It may be monologue. You talk and you don't get answer. But after some time you feel, yes, God, you also get the answer. Your mind, which is the seat of God, becomes the questioner and also becomes the replier, gives the answers also. And that is not mental fancy. That is all inspiration from God that is coming to your mind. Don't think it's myself. I imagine that what God is saying. That all good thoughts come to the heart by the grace of that God. Good thoughts are the source of the good thoughts is God. Another is praising God. Come and say to God, wonderful, just think of the wonderful things that God does, His creation, His love, His compassion, His own effect on our life. If we look at our life, we'll find that God has been so kind to us in many ways. In many ways in our life, where we stand today. In fact, that we are alive, that we are breathing, that we get food. You may say, we work, my parents work, I have money inherited from parents, that's why I live. No, nothing could work unless there is God. So God is so compassionate and kind that by which we are with Him. So praising God mentally, that also makes us spiritually very strong and refreshed. Just come and see His glories mentally. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, singing His glories, those who can sing God's. What we can talk to God, that thought will not come. But someone in a very high time of their mental energy or spiritual energy got something, some inspiration, and then they recorded. Someone set it into tune. And both tune and words together, if there is a good singer, this all three combined have the tremendous impact on our prayer. The song today you heard, so wonderfully sung, and the words, everything, if you could just, this song was in Indian language, Hindi or Bengali. So I would like to request that we can have the little summary in English before we sing. The song was so beautiful, and the meaning was so wonderful that God really, it was saying that the song, the words said, offer the lotus of your heart at the lotus feet of God and be an anklet and just kiss the feet of heart. Be in the presence of heart's image. Beautiful song and sung in such a sweet and devotional voice. So this all makes wonderful prayer. Singing the song and listening to the song with full attention. If song is going on there and I talk with my children or with my spouse or with my friend, then the song doesn't have any meaning. But if we could give attention with the feeling, try to visualize the meaning of the song, then it's a wonderful prayer. One who listens, they enjoy. More than that, those who sing with the right attitude, they have to enjoy. Unless they enjoy the singing, there will be no impact on the listeners. So those who sing, they enjoy. I tell to somebody, those who sing, I say, don't sing only in public. Sing alone when you are with God and try to just have this talk with the song. It will have wonderful impact upon you. So that is one nice thing of rejuvenating through spirituality. Singing the glories of God. Sometimes reading nice passages. The morning we're reading Swamiji's influence on Madame Calvé. How wonderful. When she went to have a holy company, all her problems are gone. Swamiji said, you give up your worries. And his command was his blessing. So all worries she lost, and she writes in her book, in her life story, that how she felt, and she was saved by the presence of Swami Vivekananda. who without looking at her could say what went through her. That was a thing for a great yogi like Swami Vivekananda. Not for every holy man. But you go to any holy man, if he is really trying to lead a holy life and pure life, it has some impact on our life, that association. Whether he will be able to have that effect as Madan Kalbe had on Swami Vivekananda and Madan Kalbe, but every one of us will have some impact and will be impelled towards our rejuvenation of spirituality. Then, the fourth kind of prayer is asking. Prayer is sometimes we want to have something and we want to ask God. So what do we ask from God? We generally, when we reach to God, we don't need to ask for ordinary things, but rather real, valuable things like God made mine. Go to the root. The trouble of our bodies and anxieties is because of impurities and ignorance. So why don't we ask them wisdom? Why don't we ask knowledge? Why don't we ask purity of heart? If we have that, all other problems gone. So ask for the root things that makes us happy and peaceful. And if you cannot ask those things, you are too much tormented by immediate problems, yes, that also can be asked. God, please solve this problem. I'm in a lawsuit, and I've been cased, framed, not rightly. I have not done that commit. Ask to God that also. Slowly going and praying to God for those common things, or ask for a children. My child is not doing good in exams. My child is not healthy. He's sick, or my friend is having that problem. Lord, do something for that. Going to Lord for our worldly problems will make us closer to God. And we'll feel that He is the one whom I should look for everything in the world. And then gradually, when it becomes my own, my heart becomes pure, and then we find the things of the world will be like that. There is no end to the disease and sickness in the world. It will be there. There will be no end to the failures in the world. It will be there. So rather we will ask, give Him peace, give Him devotion, give Him purity of mind. Not only for me, that person was so abusive to me, that person tried to insult me. Lord, give him peace of mind. Why did he insult? Because he had some problems. So he couldn't stand me. He was restless, he was ignorant, he said something to me which I am not. So instead of getting angry with him, we come to the Lord and then pray. Ask something. Give him peace of mind. Wonderful prayer. You become so peaceful before that person becomes peaceful. By God answers to him. God immediately answers to you. Just your prayer itself is the answer from God. When you pray for someone who has been not so kind to you. And you feel peace. You don't feel any hatred. So this rejuvenates you spiritually. That's another way of rejuvenating spiritually. Another is faith in God's love for us. God loves us more than we can think, more than we love ourselves. God's love for us is so great. We don't have faith, and when difficulties come, we forget. So to have faith that God loves us most, that makes us very strong. Then selfless service, trying to serve others without any motive. Just do good for another person. I saw one lady one day before yesterday on Earth Day. One lady was coming to hospital. She works in the hospital. She was bringing some garbage in her hand, some thrown up bottle, some garbage thermocol, some styrofoam. And I asked, what is this? She said, Swami, people have thrown it, just I want to put it in the garbage. The earth will look better. So that is the selfless service. She didn't want to show anyone or to advertise. She was going to hospital to work. So selfless service can be done in so many different ways. Even just smiling to a friend is a selfless service. Talking over phone is a selfless service. Answering to their request to invitation is a selfless service. We have a lot of work to do in our home. We get Saturday and Sunday with so much difficulty after working over 5 days. And someone invites, can you come for my son's birthday? So again, son's birthday. Last week also I went. I wanted to take rest. So, but going to attend friend's birthday, that is a selfless service. How much joy you give to that family, that you belong to them, they become happy, the child becomes happy. And instead of getting tired but not having rest, you get more spiritually, and it becomes your replenishment of spiritual energy. Of course, the best way to replenish our spiritual energy is through meditation. They say if meditation is a very difficult thing though, but if we could have real and right kind of meditation, they say it is so refreshing. It is much more refreshing than sleep. They say 1 hour of good meditation equals to 7 hours of deep sleep. Just you can imagine. If one meditates, it doesn't need to sleep at all. So fresh in mind, full of sattva guna. We are tired because of tamo guna. And if we can transform our tamo guna into rajas and then into sattva, and less of tamas in us and more of sattva, you get less tired because you are spiritually awakened. So to do that, practice of meditation. And if we achieve good meditation in that way, it will be the most refreshing thing. Those who meditated, they said, Swami Vivekananda said that. Now let us have some examples of rejuvenation through spirituality. The first example comes to the mind is Arjuna. Arjuna was a brave man, very strong. He had all that physical replenishment I told. He had a good physique, very strong body, exercise and practice archery. Greatest valor, most valor, greatest warrior of his time. And when he came and saw the army, he was shaking. What happened to his energy, his power, his valor? What was lacking in him? What he lost? He lost spiritual power, spiritual energy, which controls all our other energies. And he said to Sri Krishna, I cannot fight. My hairs are standing out of fear, and my body is shaking. I cannot stand. And he left this weapon, Gandiva, bow is falling from my hand, and I cannot stand. Bepatuscha sarire me romaharsascha jayate gandivam sransate hasta tvakchaiva parideyate. My body is burning with this weakness. What was the reason of his weakness? He was very sharp mentally, he was very strong physically. The spiritual weakness came, delusion came. That how can I kill my own relative? That how did Sri Krishna replenish his energy? He gave instruction about who is that going to fight? Who is going there to be killed? His delusion was, I am going to kill my own kids and kins, my own teacher, my own grandsire, the people whom I love. Sri Krishna said, what do you think you are going to kill someone? Can you kill someone? Or can someone kill you? You are Atman. You cannot kill anyone. And you think you are going to kill them? And he showed to replenish his spiritual energy that all these people whom you think you are going to kill are already dead. Everything, the death and birth is already recorded. That time they are going to die. Whether you kill or not, they are going to die in that battle. That's how it is meant. So just be an agent, instrument of God, and show that as if you are putting the air. People are dying by the will of God. But they are born by the will of God. So one way he said. Another he said, you think that you are committing sin? No sin will be accrued if you do without attachment, without seeing the fruit of action, without seeing that you are going to move in and have the kingdom. You are fighting here for justice, to save your dharma as a kshatriya. You have to protect the right. Whose right you are protecting? You are protecting the right of your own kingdom. Our Yudhishthira, your king. That you must not go away from that. Then he said, if we can do that by giving up all your attachment and all your desires for the fruit of action, then I am there to protect you. No sin will touch you. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshesyami. You feel that sin will come to you? I will save you from all the sins that may touch you. There will be no sin, he said that way. First, the Atman will not kill you. You are the self. then if you do it unattached way, no sin will be there. You are performing your duties. In performance of duties, that may be the thing you have to kill your relatives. But that is for the performance of duty as a Kshatriya, to uphold the righteousness in the kingdom. Nobody can perform injustice to you. So Sri Krishna said that. And then he said, devote everything to me. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam saranam vraja. Just be devoted to me, surrender to me. And then he knows him. Then at last, Sri Krishna, Arjuna was replenished spiritually. And he said, Nasto moha smriti labdva. I have remembered, now I remember, I had heard these things because my delusion is gone. Then whatever you say, Krishna, I will do. And he fought and won the battle and upheld the justice. God was with him. Yatra partho dhanu yatra. Wherever there is partha, where there is that fairer, the self-confident man, partha was changed into self-confident man through the spiritual teaching of Sri Krishna. And there was God with him. To always to a self-confident man, there will be God along with him. Self-confidence, it is a quality given by God. So that human self-confidence and God's assistance combined together, Tatra Srir Vijayo Bhuti Dhruva Niti Mati Mama. Wherever there is these things, man's self-confidence, skill and God's presence, there will be success. That is the eternal law. Dhruva Niti. That's my saying, says the sage. So we find in the life of, why to go to Arjuna, life of monks. See, just immediate. I remember how Swami Prabodhanandaji, he came to our retreat just last year. And how sick he was. When he was coming in the plane, he was bleeding, blood flowing to his body. But he didn't say anything for 4 days. And he finished his retreat, working for whole days or 2 days for Saturday, Sunday. On the Sunday evening, he said, I'm suffering a lot, blood is going out from my body. And doctors were called. And when it happened when I came in the plane itself, it happened for the first time. But there was no complaint before that. And he was taken to hospital. Whole night he was in the hospital, treatment was going on, lot of blood came, and lot of pain. But he was so happy. He said, it all happened after I could finish the retreat. I finished my allotted duty. I didn't become hurdle to their program. I didn't disappoint their devotees. I didn't disappoint God to serve Him with all my difficulties. Isn't that spiritual rejuvenation? Isn't that making yourself fit to work for God, whatever your physical condition is? We saw Swahanandji last year again. Swahanandji came in May, and when he came, he was suffering from cold. Call came to me from Washington DC that Swami is suffering, arrange a doctor. And when doctor came, and he was very angry. Who told you to call doctor? I said, someone called me from Washington DC where you were, and there was no need. I won't allow doctor to check me, because he knew he was very sick. And doctor checked, and doctor told me, Swami, his condition is not good. Lungs is filled with fluid. But Swami said to doctor, you cannot ask me to take rest. And that was the thing most needed. And he really didn't take rest, because there was initiation, there was talk, there was program. And Swamiji did all those things for 2 or 3 days continually. And you know how much he suffered? He used to cough whole night. Only 1 hour or 1.5 hours he used to sleep. And I said to Swamiji, please don't give much longer talks. See, only for 15 minutes because it is recorded. He used to come and he spoke for 1 hour, often having cough and pain in lungs. He was not going away from that. And he gave initiation, gave big instruction to the devotees, to the initiated. Where that energy came? That's all spiritual energy. And when it was finished, he went to a memorial service for another Swami in US, Swami Sarvagatanandaji. He gave a talk there. During talk, he coughed. He had a lot of pain. After that, he had to be sent to hospital. And doctor said, nothing doing, now rest completely. He had to be hospitalized for 4 or 5 days when the fluid was taken out, and he went home. Where that energy comes from to these 84, 85, 87 years old monks? This is the spiritual energy which helps their body to add, to mind to add, everything under their spiritual power. We see the example of Swami Asheshanandaji. Very old he had become, Holy Mother's disciple. I heard from the person who had seen him. Very hardly he could stand and very difficultly he could walk. But the devotee who saw him said, Swamiji, but whenever he was to give talk, he was very frail and as if he would fall down while going. But once he went to the lectern and got hold of the microphone, totally different person. From where the strength came? And he used to speak about Holy Mother, about spirituality in such a clear voice, such a great strength, and all that is the spiritual strength they had from spiritual practices. So, spiritual rejuvenation will give us all the energy, fill us with all the positive energy that we need in our life to lead our life, which we call a secular life and a spiritual life. To distincting itself is a mistake. They say there is only one life. Whether you call it spiritual and secular divide, it is not right. The whole of our life is a spiritual life. And the need is to convert our secular life, so to say, our secular life into a spiritual practice. For that, as it has been said, when you see a person, try to feel that God is in the heart of that person. If you cannot see God there in His face, at least try to feel God is there. At least try to feel your service, your work in the office is service to God. When you feel another person, always be aware of God's presence there. So, every act of ours becomes spiritual practice, and every act becomes our practice for rejuvenating ourselves spiritually, and it is complete and total rejuvenation, refreshing ourselves and replenishing ourselves with positive energy.